My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. Later. All right, that is Tracy Banks that's monitoring as she enters and exits. This is impossible light activity, not the product of sunlight, where the entity is keeping the fake sun, for example, over me in Hesperia, California, outside of the hotel window. Daylight savings time or not, this is never the product of sunlight. The blinds are closed and the fake sun is over the apartment where it remains. And this is called crossing a path. Tracy Banks is also monitoring while she walks on the sidewalk. And this is the same patio window where you see the fake sun after 4 p.m. She is monitoring with the people of the state, with the city of Ontario. This is a corrupt government and a corrupt population. This is public corruption, as I'm showing you inside of an apartment building at a facilitating venue where the demonic targeting system of federal group stalking and monitoring is underway. You're looking at the impossible light activity that's appearing on the inside of the patio blinds. As I capture the images on a daily basis, you see the engineered light that's coating through the back porch, and that is the fake sun that's here, literally here over the building, and aiming engineered light underneath this patio onto encoding this patio window, where what you saw Tracy Banks do creates impossible light activity where their upright shadows move across this patio door. This is speaking to the duration of time, that 5 hours from now, the fake sun that I'm going to show you again, I already captured images of it, but I'll get a video to include it in here. The fake sun is remaining here. It's currently 10. I took images of the fake sun at 9:18 in the morning. I captured the fake sun rising here at 7:18 in the morning. Daylight savings time or not, there's no reconciling what is clearly the identification for the federal government, for raids, for criminal prosecutions, for mental asylums, like where Tracy Banks must go as a matter of justice, where the Demon Gang Stalking Unit 55 must go as a matter of justice based on the evidence, speaking to an unlawful and very dangerous level of mental instability upon federal group stalking and monitoring, which is required to be engaged in gang stalking. But the entity is doing so with regard to the fake sun that's still here hours from now. So 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hours from now, the fake sun remains in perfect alignment with me inside of this apartment and is coding. You're seeing the inside on 6 hours from now. The fake sun is in perfect alignment with the same apartment on the first floor, by the way, and engineered light covers. This is where you'll see the shadow of the chairs. This is stationary maintenance of a fake sun, and this is impossible light. This is not even sunlight. Okay, and this is what vacillates. It remains and it moves across. You'll see later in the afternoon as I show you, engineer light remains. This is in the afternoon where the fake sun is still at the same apartment complex, and this is not sunlight that's appearing, again, shooting horizontally through the apartment and to appear on surfaces. This is the purpose of what is the demon in 55, where you're looking at what has absolutely nothing to do with the fake sun. Okay, you're just looking at light which is just manifesting out of nowhere on the ceiling, moving backwards and moving downward across the wall. This is present in the dark. Okay, I'm capturing at 6, 7 in the morning where the fake sun is not like it is right now, right here in perfect alignment with me, where the entity is keeping, again, the fake sun, as I've shown you, engineered light shooting through the peephole, appearing on the wall. You can see the engineered light appear on my hand. That's not sunlight, okay? And you're also paying attention to all the manner of direction of light. I have an enlarged shadow on the wall right here. I'm being molested with engineered light. This is demonic. This is shooting horizontal light inside of the apartment. This is demonic, and it's also impossible light activity. You have engineered light that's just appearing out of nowhere. This is demonic. This is impossible light activity. Shooting in an opposite direction, appearing on the patio blinds. This is demonic. This is impossible light activity. The fact that the fake sun is still here as I captured at 9:18 in the morning, well, you will still see it, and it's still here as I open the blinds and I show you on a daily basis. The fake sun is still here over this. It's at a lower elevation than this tree. It hovers right above the roof of the building, which is not the sun, and it's also not the sun as I'm showing you during before daylight savings time, as I'm living at Alvarado Gardens in Los Angeles, just as one example, where the fake sun, with regard to comparing it to the natural environment, is under no circumstances going to be hovering over Woodside Senior Apartments while I'm living at Alvarado Gardens. As Tracy Banks opens the front door, this is light that is, again, shooting in an opposite direction, shooting remaining up behind the front door. And this is not sunlight that's also going to shoot horizontally, and it appears on the front. She's monitoring as she enters and exits the property. The pool cleaner working for AVANATH Capital, contractor with AVANATH Capital, is gang stalking on the property with knowledge, engaged in what is federal stalking as a corrupt company. This is a statewide system where the fake sun, all right, this is, again, neglecting every other place in the city, every other place in the state, where the fake sun, because there's only one sun, so you're comparing what the demons are doing in the specific environment with what the natural environment would behave like, would look like, would appear like. And it's nothing compared to the specific environment. Hearing the Union Pacific Railroad train is amplification. It's evidence against the people of the state who are going to federal prison. This apartment building is where the fake sun remains planted over me. And hours from now, this is 10 o'clock right now, 10:08 a.m. This is where the fake sun is remaining at 12. You're talking about centimeters away to be in alignment as I'm capturing at 12 and 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's over the top of the building. At 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's still here. I've captured the fake sun after 4 p.m. in perfect alignment with where my finger is. And that's what I captured with regard to the highlight for the demon that's gang stalking, living inside of apartment 55. This is the chief means of what is amplified audible activity, where the demon is, as clearly as I'm walking around in the apartment, that's not going to be, and it is not the explanation for what is the sound of the crackling ceiling and walls. That's relevant to what is the engineered light. There is no sunlight that's going to be inside of this apartment. Sunlight does not appear in this manner. This is engineered light. And as I move, you can see that engineered light disappear. It is also not the sun while it's remaining here. It is not over West Covina at 2100 Lark Ellen Avenue. The West Covina Police Department is gang stalking at 9:24 a.m. while that fake sun remains over my vehicle through the windshields, and the people of the state are gang stalking as a city, just like the city of Ontario is gang stalking as a city. And you can compare the pattern of conduct as the entity is with regard to juxtaposing the venues. As you get from location to location, you're getting to city, and you are also having evidence, witnessing the evidence of state to state. Do not forget the documentation of the light source over me in Las Vegas, Nevada, where the entity kept a fake sun from morning and in the afternoon. At no point would there ever be the natural environment, including the sun over Woodside Senior Apartments. At no point is the natural environment going to include the sun over Woodside Senior Apartments while I am living during the same time frame before daylight savings time in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens Apartments, where at no point did the sun ever leave from that property unless I was in my vehicle and I showed you the entity stalking under a fake sun, and notably by helicopter. Okay, that's the prosecution of domestic terrorists like Dominic Choi and the Los Angeles Police Department gang stalking, just like the to be disbanded Ontario Police Department, using aerial surveillance, just like you hear here. That's amplification of plane activity. That's exactly what the Ontario International Airport practices, and it's criminal, and that's going to be the removal of the Ontario International Airport, devoted to years of criminal surveillance with the people of the state, and they are engaging in what is showing obsession while they're still stalking using planes and they're being documented. The federal government is noting the ongoing impunity and malice with which a demon-possessed, that is a mentally unstable population, is seeking to engage in the organized crime of malicious murder and kidnapping of American citizens who before now have no voice and have no means of reporting in order to protect their lives and their safety and their liberty. All right, and doing so through a blood relative such as Tracy Banks is the necessity of mental asylums, not only for demons such as the one in 55. This is an elderly senior citizen demon. The energy that this demon has, never going to sleep overnight, monitoring even as I go to an unconscious state, falling asleep. This demon is stomping above my head, never going into the bedroom, remaining directly over me, stalking in the path, and it is identified as stalking under the fake sun. You are not protected from federal prosecution when you're gang stalking, living at a facilitating environment where you're looking at engineered light appearing out of nowhere in all manner of direction. This is the P.O.C. This is speaking to what is gang stalking at a senior citizen apartment complex, not distinct from gang stalking at the California Department of Motor Vehicles in Glendale, California. All right, what's the difference? The difference is a state facilitating venue and a third-party facilitating venue. Everybody in units 33 through 64 are going to federal prison. Tracy Banks is going to a mental asylum for the rest of her life for seeking to maliciously murder her own daughter. I want you to understand, and you need to recognize, and the federal government shall appreciate, federal law shall recognize what is the unlawful threat to the life of an American citizen, where the targeting entity uses blood relatives, uses those that are in your personal life to target you. That's the malice of the state. That's gang stalking. All right. None of this conduct that's occurring at the apartment complex is constitutionally protected. None of it is private. This is organized crime that Alvarado Gardens and AVANATH Capital Management LLC is engaged in. Not only the employees of AVANATH at Woodside are going to federal prison, but also the demons who are gang stalking, such as the violent sex offender who's obsessed with my genitalia, knows exactly where I'm going, knows the moment when my panties are down, when my legs are spread open, when my genitalia is exposed, and the demons that's stalking right now in 55 with amplified audible activity, she follows me into the bathroom and she engages in that stalking with amplified activity over my head, where the fake sun remains, where the entity is engaged in massive invasion of privacy together, while a demon knows my every move. And that's exhibited, how you know that, through the impossible light activity and the ongoing targeting through the timing that amplified audible activity occurs. The fact that this demon is monitoring right now is the basis of federal prison for everybody that's going, and also for this demon in particular in 55, based on the weight of the evidence and based on the clear mental instability exhibited through that criminal conduct. This demon is going to a mental asylum, okay? And her license plate, again, 5WUB715. She's living in an apartment 55 at Woodside Senior Apartments, where the fake sun remains, and as a matter of evidence, it's still here 6 hours from now. That's speaking to what the city is engaged in. Paul Leon is a gang stalking mayor. That is literally an oxymoron. You will be removed from your office where you are engaged in domestic terrorism and facilitating it. This is encouraging public corruption, sexual violence, and criminal activity of a malicious nature, and doing so with malice. She's monitoring as she walks outside of her apartment, and in the same way that she's walking, that is not the explanation for the crackling walls and ceiling. This is the same demon that you saw driving in this parking lot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon during daylight savings time. An engineered light moved all across that brick wall. In the same way that she was monitoring on that day, she's monitoring right now. She's obsessed with my genitalia, a violent sex offender, and AVANATH shall compensate for all the harms that the residents whom they're profiting off of, all of their contractors, such as the pool workers, such as the AVANATH employee inside of apartment number 41, who are profiting. AVANATH, as a corrupt company, is profiting, which is unlawful and against public policy. You are subject to civil and criminal prosecution while the government uses your real property, while the people of the state use your real property, and while you profit and directly and vicariously engage and facilitate federal group stalking and monitoring, which is what the city of Ontario is doing routinely, by the way, gang stalking by coming and emptying out the dumpster. All right, they're engaging in what is light activity, amplified audible activity, gang stalking under a fake sun, and doing so under the malicious guise of emptying the garbage. And engineered light is P.O.C, okay? The people of the state living at the Woodside Senior Apartments are engaged in, and all the demons inside of units 33 through 64 are indeed going to federal prison. That demon living inside of apartment 55, that's the one that you just saw right now with that blonde hair. That demon never went to sleep at all. She's engaged in 24-hour surveillance, gang stalking a woman. I just want to be clear, this has nothing to do with race. But if you are under any circumstances, under some illusion that race matters with regard to the wicked conduct that human beings practice because Satan is using them, that's a white woman that is stalking a black woman. And then you are going to recall all of the lies that you are told about how human beings are weighed or valued based on some man-made, manufactured hierarchy that's supposed to cause you to devalue yourself based on what someone else. Let me be clear. Those sorts of things and those notions, those ideas, those theories, which unfortunately even in America may have weight with regard to the way that you're treated in the world, it bears no truth. This is why you have a white woman stalking a black woman. She's obsessed with my genitalia. She's obsessed with everything that I do. The moment that I fall asleep, the moment that I wake up, the moment that I go to the refrigerator, the moment that I walk into the bathroom, everything that I'm doing. And she is still gang stalking while she walks into the parking lot. And you will see that because the evidence of the fake sun at 1 o'clock in the afternoon is the evidence which is going to be juxtaposed with what is 10:16 in the morning. That's called malice. And that malice is going to place that psychopath in a mental asylum. Everybody else, unless they want to provide a wealth of evidence, just like Tracy Banks has and this demon in 55 have, they're all going to federal prison, and you will not escape that as a matter of justice. All right, it is currently 10:16 a.m. This is speaking to the ongoing bloodthirsty appetite of demons who are indeed gang stalking. This is not sunlight that's ever going to be the product of the sun. That's not going to be present 6 hours later. It's also not the product of, this is not the sunlight that would be the product of the presence of the sun because of the hovering location of that light source over the same roof. And also the maintenance of the fake sun that's literally at the same time over me in West Covina, California. That's not over the roof of Woodside Senior Apartments creating any of this light activity. That's understanding the malice of the entity that is indeed engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. You are familiar with it termed as gang stalking, state organized stalking. You need to understand that it is the system for what is the organized crimes of corrupt governments that seek to not only sacrifice unto Satan. This is demonic. And this is a demonic environment. And it's the identification of criminal conduct that the government is practicing. You're not free to live at a facilitating venue. You'll go to federal prison for that. You're not free to work at a facilitating venue. You will go to federal prison for that. This is what speaker companies, Maria Alvarez of speaker companies, Carlo Lopez, they're all going to, Selena, Robledo, they're all going to federal prison for this criminal conduct, which you are going to juxtapose Woodside Senior Apartments with Alvarado Gardens. They're all going to federal prison. Okay, it is currently, again, 10:17 a.m. and this is P.O.C. All right, this is what I'm documenting inside at 6:48 p.m. The entity is targeting. You're looking at the distance, which is impossible to cause this apartment building. Again, Mike Lorenz has not provided me a schedule of the moments when the demons and the sex offenders of the Ontario PD are going to arrive to fly directly over the building in directed light, where I have multiple shadows down here. They're going to federal prison in apartment 52. They're going to federal prison in apartment 56. She's going to a mental asylum in apartment 55. They're all going to federal prison in units 33 through 64, while Mike Lorenz, who was permanently done with law enforcement, who is a demon. Understand the distance is not the explanation, but you look at pacing. That's how you know that that's a demon. And also the vibration, which I'm documenting on the Samsung Notes document entitled WSA-The People. You saw the fake sun that remained directly over this building for an excess of 6.5 hours today. That's how you know that those are demons, and they're going to be disbanded. This is a band of sex offenders and demon-possessed gang members who are seeking to maliciously murder and kidnap, while this demon in 55 is being documented. You saw her. This is a bleach blonde demon who was engaged in ongoing monitoring with all of these demons who are engaged in federal stalking together. They're all engaged in crossing a path. They live in engineered light. They live under the fake sun. And there's the fake moon where you saw the fake sun. That's how you're understanding intentional conduct. Shadows on both sides going to federal prison. Okay, and you're going to deport those that are not natural born citizens that act with impunity. Shadow flying around, communication device in the back of the pocket. And that's the criminal conduct that the city of Ontario facilitates and enables. And that sex offender is monitoring my genitalia inside of this apartment on a 24-hour basis. AVANATH Capital is engaged in criminal monitoring, federal stalking, and they're all going to federal prison. This is not the explanation for, again, the vibration of the apartment. That's how, just like I documented at Alvarado Gardens, the great distance, while Dominic Choi and the demons of the LAPD targeted in a demonic method, sensational activity creation, which is how you're identifying what is the ability to be very specific with regard to who is being targeted. This is demonic pacing in the sky space under the fake moon that's directly over me, which is where the fake sun was directly over me, and an engineered light, shadow on the ground. ground. Shadow is upright on the wall. This is what you saw during the day under the fake sun. It's the same exact light activity. It's also inside of Tracy Banks' apartment, while Mike Lorenz and the demons of the Ontario Police, including Jay Burnett, Sequoia, Jason Knighton, Lester Keys, they're all going to Officer Patty. They're all going to federal prison, and the demons are going to report who is this demon that's stalking in a helicopter, because they're going to federal prison, and the Ontario Police Department is going to be disbanded. All right, this is the criminal system that every single last police department, including as I go outside of California and showed you the Las Vegas Metropolitan, gang stalking in a specific environment using helicopters, which is exposing mental instability. And this terrorism that's underway in Ontario is the removal of a sex offender and a gang stalker that's also sitting as a mayor who knows exactly the criminal conduct, the abuse of resources, the waste of billions of dollars, gang stalking in helicopters. And that's because they are terrorizing and harassing with the demon that's being heavily documented while I'm inside of the apartment. That's disbanding in federal prison, and that's a mental asylum for a heavily documented demon who's gang stalking with all of the rest of them, while my shadow surrounds me outside, which is impossible light activity. The people of the state living on Vine Avenue, living on G Street, living on F Street, driving on Euclid Avenue. The city of Ontario is gang stalking him, and Paul Leon does not have a future anymore as a mayor. A gang stalking demon has no position in office. The gang stalkers who are sitting on the Ontario City Council are going to be removed, while the government is engaged in terrorism, gang stalking using helicopters, and absurdly corrupt misuse and abuse of resources of corrupt police departments who are seeking to murder. These are gang members, not law enforcement officers. They're seeking to engage in malicious murder and kidnapping, which is why the Ontario Police is going to be disbanded for facilitating and enabling, approving criminal conduct, terrorism, sexual violence. They're monitoring my genitalia while my legs are spread open, and this demon follows inside of the bathroom, gang stalking with the helicopters that arrive with simultaneity to my documenting her. They're engaged in 24-hour surveillance, monitoring my genitalia as well. No police department needs to be present or in operation in the city when they're committed to sexual violence and terrorism, like the federal government is already aware that the Ontario Police and Mike Lorenz is engaging and facilitating. Paul Leon is done. He's fired as the mayor. This is P.O.C. It's currently 6:54 p.m. The entity, again, that demon that's coming from this apartment right here, engaging in what is lying in wait. They're crossing a path, obsessively engaged in that pattern of conduct, and this is the demon possessed. All right, you got minor children in the custody of sex offenders and terrorists and demons who act with a complete disregard for human life, and they're going to be separated from the people of the state. This is exactly what Alvarado Gardens practiced under the fake moon and under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. It is that's stalking in the path with the dog. You saw them doing that under the fake sun, where the engineer light was on the ground and the fake sun literally present at 9:18 in the morning and still present after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not the sun, and there's no sun ever where the demon that's sitting as mayor in West Covina can possibly keep office. He's going to be removed. Talking about Calderon Tabatabai, he's out of office, gang stalking with the West Covina Police Department, and you're juxtaposing the crime scenes where the cities in California are gang stalking. That is the state of California engaged in gang stalking. Again, this demon's license plate who's threatening my life with Mike Lorenz and the demons of the Ontario Police. You saw her gang stalking under the fake sun with impunity. She's having a field day, jumping rope, throwing her body, stomping, pacing around, monitoring on the internet in violation of Title 18. She does so with the corrupt police. She does so with the people of the state, and she's going to a mental asylum for the mental instability clearly exhibited through the weight of evidence showing impunity and disregard for human life. And she likes to monitor my genitalia. That's also why she's going to a mental asylum. This is P.O.C. Her license plate is 5WUB 715. It is currently, again, 6:56 p.m. You're going to look at the fake sun documentation today over the same building, where you're looking at the hallmark of stalking by helicopter, where you see my shadow surrounding myself. You see a demon-possessed gang stalker monitoring in my face, walking by gang stalking with the police. Living in the specific environment is the same audacity that you're going to prosecute as the federal government. They're all going to federal prison. This is P.O.C.